And today we wanted to kind of get into a topic because, we were talking about just the state of music, the state of hip hop music. And we were talking about basically how the music is being used to destroy a generation right in front of our eyes. And, we wanted to kind of talk about that and talk about what we can do to combat that and what new artists could do to kind of elevate themselves and elevate the music and elevate the culture as we move forward. But the state of hip hop is crazy right now, and we wanted to kind of talk about that.
You know what's funny, Jug? Like, if you ask somebody else, they may say, "Oh, the music is fine. It's a great time for hip hop." It's it really makes you wonder: is it again? Is it an age thing? Is it what is it? There's so many different beliefs, and point of views when it comes to the stage of hip hop. I mean, it's a debate. You know, um, I look at hip hop right now, and it's definitely not what it used to be. Um, it's definitely more violent. It's definitely more promiscuous. It's definitely like 10 times more influential, it feels like. But I also have to say to myself, did we do this? Did we birth this? Did we allow this? Did we steer the next generation in the wrong direction? Because there were signs, there were flags, there were people out there saying, "Don't do this, don't do that," and we scoffed at them. We called them names. We called them sellouts. We said, "You don't know nothing about the community. You're not of the culture." We said all of this and that. But now looking back, you got to wonder, were they right? You got to look at the other side of the argument, sit at the other side of the table and say, wait a minute. I mean, I sat on that side of the table long enough. You got to look at it from the other side and say, wait a minute, was there some truth to the arguments they were saying? Are we hurting our community? Are we responsible? You know, it's up for debate.
It's really up for debate because when you say that, it's like we go back to those days when folks were trying to determine whether or not they were going to put parent advisory labels on albums, right? So we're talking about the early Two Live Crew days, the early Death Row days, and you had a movement of activists that were basically saying that this music is detrimental to the community. The C. Dolores Tuckers, the Tipper Gores, folks were having congressional hearings. People were talking about how this music could be detrimental to women, to community at large. And to your point, what you said was we didn't really care to hear what they had to say. We said that they were basically out of touch, too old to understand what was going on in the community. But when you look back at it in retrospect, you say, okay, they obviously knew something that we didn't know. And, what's very evident now, and when I even look back at even some of the older, just the music, blaxploitation films, things like that, we're very much influenced by media. And I think that has been, that's being understated. I think as a community, all of our trends and everything seems to be coming or being derived from our own media, whether it be music, film, and we take that and we make it into our culture. And then the problem has been is that we've never controlled our own media. We've never controlled what gets released. We never control how we're seen. If it's Good Times, if it's the Jeffersons, if it's whatever we were watching back in the days, it's like we didn't control what those images look like. Right. So now when we talk about the music and how the music has evolved, even if we're talking about NWA from back in the days or BDP or whatever, it's like those things were still being controlled by the major machines to come out. They allowed it to come out. So we have to ask ourselves, it's like, did we drop the ball or were we asleep at the wheel? Were we exchanging, the notoriety, fame, and money, right, to basically in exchange for this music that we call real,
Mhm.
And look where we are right now. It's like the culture is basically in a loop that we can't seem to get out of. And now it's like a declining loop. So now it's like not only is it in a loop, but it's getting worse. So I don't know what the answers are. And then to your point, I feel sometimes a little bit responsible for that too, because some of that music was that we created. Some of that is some of the backdrop.
Right.
Um, in our heyday, we wanted to make the most aggressive music that we could possibly make. It was the music that we thrived off of. It's the music that we felt, you know, that we loved, but we didn't really understand that. Wait a second, if everybody's shooting up, did we program the next set of gangsters?
Right. If we're busy selling dope, the next generation, are they the ones taking the dope?
That's, and you saw that happen in real time.
Right. I mean, look, as producers, we make records based on how we feel, the environment we're in. So, of course, if you're going through some rough times, your music may come out aggressive or sad or whatever the case may be. That given. But what's happening is the records that's been putting out over the years and years and years, and the artists that are, displaying their truth, it's no longer looked at just as entertainment. It's sunken into the way of young kids thinking. So, the argument of, oh, it's just entertainment, we can't go by that.
We can't go by that anymore.
It's not just entertainment. It's doing a whole lot more. It's actually programming. And it's kind of crazy, man. And it's really sad, to be honest with you. That we as the OGs are responsible, and we gotta take some accountability. And a lot of OGs are, telling the youth this and that their music is trash, their music is garbage, and this and that. But we gotta hold them accountable. This is really your fault. As the experiences that you had working with these record labels, these new artists shouldn't be getting horrible deals. As a matter of fact, if you feel that way about the music, where is your company? Where is your record label that's supposed to be finding the new talent that puts out the music that's going to help this generation? Where's that?
That's real.
You don't see them. All these OGs that were very successful in their day, where is your record company that will allow this culture of ours to flourish the right way? It's like they left the game, and they left it in the hands of kids that are trying to figure it out on their own. And they're just trying to get the bag.
But at the same time, I think what happens is that I think some of the OGs may have been trying to handle it on the back end, trying to reach out to some of the younger guys. And then what you realize is that, you can lead horses to water, but you can't make them drink.
I think also, yes, I think it just reached out to the wrong type of artist.
I think the artists, I think what we have right now is we have an inability to critically think. I think that's like this. That's, to me, is what's apparent. Is that there's a lack of critical thinking now. It might be too much drugs. It might be too much this. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lack of critical thinking. And then what we're seeing is we're just seeing the music just continue to degrade. And then as the music degrades, then what we start seeing is more behavior that mirrors the music. So as the music starts to become, let's say, just more violent, then we see more violence.
Right. And it continues to feed each other.
Right. So if we see more, prostitution talk, you see more of that popping up. You know what I'm saying? And this is just what it is.